Adanna's beauty was a thing of legends. Her skin, smooth as polished mahogany, glowed under the moonlight. Her eyes, wide and luminous, mirrored the twin moons that watched over the savannah. When she laughed, a rare, melodic sound, even the chattering monkeys fell silent to listen. But beauty in this village was a double-edged sword, for Adanna bore a curse, one that had marked her since birth. On the night she entered the world, the village seer, a hunched woman with milky eyes, had clutched the squirming infant and gasped. The firelight revealed a faint crescent moon etched into the child's tiny palm. "She will love fiercely," the seer rasped, her voice trembling like dry leaves. "But her heart will bring ruin. When this scar glows red, death follows." The villagers never forgot those words. By the time Adanna turned 18, the scar had deepened, its silvery curve now a jagged slash. When the moon hung full and heavy, it pulsed like a wound. Mothers pulled their children indoors when she passed. Young men who once serenaded her with drums and flutes now spat into the dust to ward off evil. Only her grandmother, Mama Ngozi, dared to touch her. The old woman's hands, wrinkled as tree bark, would press herbs into Adanna's palms, bitter-smelling pastes meant to quiet the curse. "Love is not your enemy, child," Mama Ngozi would say, grinding roots with a stone. "But fear is. Fear turns men into hyenas." Adanna tried to believe her. But how could she, when even the goats skittered away from her shadow? One dry season, when the earth cracked like a hungry mouth, a stranger arrived. His name was Kwame, a trader from the north, his cart piled high with carved masks, spices, and bolts of indigo cloth. He wore a leopard's tooth on a leather cord around his neck, a charm, he claimed, for courage. The village buzzed. Strangers were rare, and this one had laughter that rumbled like distant thunder. Adanna first saw him at the well. She had come to fetch water, her clay pot balanced on her head. The villagers scattered, leaving her alone. Kwame stood nearby, haggling with the blacksmith. His eyes flicked to her, lingered, then widened. Adanna froze. She knew that look, the sharp inhale, the stumble backward. But Kwame did not flee. Instead, he stepped closer. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice warm as honeyed tea. Adanna lowered her gaze. "You don't want to know." He laughed. "I've crossed deserts and fought bandits for lesser treasures." She turned to leave, but he blocked her path gently. "Wait, what's this?" He pointed to her scar. Adanna curled her hand into a fist. "A curse. It brings death." Kwame tilted his head. "A curse? Or a compass?" Before she could protest, he took her hand, his calloused fingers tracing the moon's curve. "It matches the one in my dreams." Adanna's breath caught. No one had touched her scar since infancy. That night, the village elders gathered around the fire, their voices low. "Send him away," one hissed. "He'll awaken the curse." But Kwame stayed, pitching his tent near the baobab grove. He returned to the well each dawn, lingering until Adanna appeared. He brought her gifts, a comb carved from ebony, a bracelet of cowrie shells, stories of markets where elephants carried silk and rivers ran silver with fish. "Why do you bother?" Adanna asked one evening, as fireflies blinked around them. Kwame leaned against the well, his face half-shadowed. "Because you're the first real thing I've seen in years. These masks I sell." He gestured to his cart. "They're hollow, but you burn like fire." Adanna's scar prickled. She hid her hand behind her back. "Leave this village," Kwame said suddenly. "Come with me. We'll trade in the cities, sleep under stars, eat mangoes so sweet they'll make you cry." Her heart leapt, then sank. "You don't understand. If I stay, the curse." "Curse?" Kwame snorted. "My people say curses are just stories told by cowards." But Mama Ngozi disagreed. That night, as Adanna stirred a pot of millet porridge, the old woman gripped her wrist. "Beware that traitor, child. His leopard's tooth, it's no mere trinket. Ask him why he wears it." Adanna found Kwame at the edge of the baobab grove, mending a torn saddle. The moon hung low, bathing his face in pale light. "Your necklace," she said, her voice steady. "What does it mean?" Kwame's smile faded. He touched the tooth. "An oath. My ancestors swore to destroy what they could not possess." Adanna stepped back. "Destroy me? No." He reached for her, then stopped. "The oath binds me to a path. But for you, I'd break it. I'd carve a new path with my bare hands." Adanna's scar flared, a searing pain. She gasped, clutching her hand. The crescent moon glowed crimson, casting a bloody light on the dust. Kwame stared, his face pale. "What?" "Go," Adanna whispered. "Before it's too late." But he didn't move. "Meet me tonight, by the river. I'll prove the curse is just fear." As he walked away, Adanna's scar pulsed like a second heartbeat. Mama Ngozi's warning echoed in her ears. The river knows the truth, and truth is a hungry beast. The night was thick with the hum of cicadas as Adanna crept toward the river, her bare feet sinking into cool, damp earth. The moon hung low, a pale eye watching her every move. Kwame's words buzzed in her head. Asterisk, I'll prove the curse is just fear. Asterisk, but her scar throbbed, a warning etched into her flesh. She clutched the leopard's tooth he'd given her, a token, he'd said, of his promise. Its edges bit into her palm. Kwame stood by the water's edge, a dagger glinting in one hand, a clay pot in the other. The river slid past, black and silent, but Adanna felt its presence like a held breath. "You came," Kwame said, his smile too bright. "Tell me the truth," Adanna demanded. "What oath binds you to that tooth?" Kwame's gaze dropped. "Long ago, my ancestors sought a power hidden in these lands, a spirit that could bend fate. When it refused them, they vowed to destroy it. The leopard's tooth marks me as their heir." He stepped closer. "But I don't want their vengeance. I want you." Adanna's scar flared. "Then why the dagger?" "The curse lives in your blood," he said, voice low. "If I cut the scar free, the spirit will release you." He lifted the pot. Thick, ink-black liquid sloshed inside. "This will seal the wound." Adanna hesitated. Mama Ngozi's voice echoed. Asterisk, the river knows the truth. Asterisk. Kwame knelt, beckoning her to sit. The dagger's tip hovered over her palm. "Trust me," he urged. The blade pressed. Pain lanced up her arm. Black blood welled, dripping into the pot. The liquid hissed, bubbling like 1,000 tiny tongues. Suddenly, the river erupted. Crocodiles surged from the depths, massive, scaled beasts with eyes like smoldering coals. Their jaws snapped, teeth gleaming. Kwame screamed as one clamped onto his leg, dragging him toward the water. "Adanna, help me!" She scrambled back, terror rooting her to the spot. The pot tipped, spilling the inky liquid. It seeped into the soil, hissing, as the crocodiles thrashed. Kwame's dagger glinted in the mud. "You awaken them." Mama Ngozi's voice cut through the chaos. She stood at the tree line, her face gaunt in the moonlight. The river's guardians punish those who meddle with fate. Adanna lunged for the dagger, slicing her palm again. Black smoke curled from the wound, twisting into the shape of a hyena, the curse's spirit. It laughed, a sound like cracking bones. "Foolish girl," it snarled. "You think love can break me? I am older than the baobabs, older than fear." Kwame's cries grew faint as the crocodiles submerged. The water stilled. Adanna collapsed, clutching her bleeding hand. The scar now oozed black, the skin around it withered. Mama Ngozi knelt beside her, pressing a poultice of bitter herbs to the wound. "He's gone," Adanna whispered.
Gone.
Mama Ngozi's eyes hardened. The river takes what it is owed. Now it hungers for balance. Dawn crept over the savannah, pale and fragile. The village stirred, unaware of the night's horror. But Adanna saw the truth in the women's averted eyes, the men's clenched fists. Kwame's empty tent flapped in the wind like a ghost. At midday, screams tore through the air. Kwame's body lay at the river's edge, his skin etched with jagged symbols, the same ones Adanna's scar now bore. The leopard's tooth was gone. "Spirit marks," Mama Ngozi muttered. "The curse claims its price." Adanna's tears fell onto Kwame's cold hand. "I didn't mean to." "You loved him," Mama Ngozi interrupted. "But love without sacrifice is a hollow drum. Now the village will burn unless you choose, his life or yours." The village square burned with torches, their flames licking the night sky like angry tongues. Women wailed, children clutched their mothers' skirts, and men sharpened spears, their eyes darting to Adanna. Kwame's body lay at the center, his skin etched with spiraling symbols that glowed faintly, as if the curse itself pulsed beneath his flesh. "She did this," shouted Okeke, the blacksmith, pointing a trembling finger at Adanna. "Her curse has killed a stranger. Next, it will swallow us all." Adanna stood motionless, her scar now a blackened gash. Mama Ngozi gripped her shoulder, her voice a low growl. "The river demands balance.
Choose now, child.
His life or yours." Adanna knelt beside Kwame's body. His face, once warm and laughing, was frozen in a silent scream. She pressed her scarred palm to his chest, the symbols on his skin flaring red where she touched him. "I loved you," she whispered. "Love is not enough," Mama Ngozi said, thrusting Kwame's dagger into her hand. "The curse feeds on life. Give it yours and the village lives. Or let his death feel its wrath and watch everything burn." Adanna's fingers tightened on the dagger. The blade reflected her face, hollow cheeks, eyes raw from tears. "If I die, will the village forgive me?" She glanced at the mob. Okeke's spear gleamed. A child sobbed. "They will never forgive you," Mama Ngozi said, as if reading her thoughts. "But forgiveness is not the path of the cursed. Survival is." The hyena's spirit materialized in a swirl of black smoke, its laughter sharp as broken glass. "You cannot outrun me, little moon," it sneered. "All love ends in blood. Choose." Adanna stood, dagger raised. "I choose neither." The spirit lunged, jaws wide. Adanna slashed the blade across her scar. Black blood sprayed, sizzling where it struck the earth. The hyena recoiled, howling. "You dare." "You want a life?" Adanna hissed. "Take mine, but his stays with the river." She plunged the dagger into her chest. The world went silent. Adanna's knees buckled. The hyena's spirit writhed, its form unraveling like smoke in the wind. "Fool," it screeched. "You think death frees you? You are mine now." But Adanna's blood pooled around her, mixing with Kwame's. The symbols on his skin flared bright, then dissolved. The dagger clattered to the ground, its blade clean. Mama Ngozi dropped to her knees, cradling Adanna's head. "Child, what have you done?" Adanna's vision blurred. "I broke the cycle." When dawn came, the villagers found them there, Mama Ngozi rocking Adanna's lifeless body, Kwame's corpse now still and ordinary. The hyena's spirit was gone. So was Adanna's beauty. Her hair, once lustrous, hung in brittle strands. Her skin, once glowing, was ashen and scarred. But her face was calm. "The curse is lifted," Mama Ngozi announced, her voice echoing across the savannah. She paid the price. The villagers murmured. Some spat. Others wept. None dared approach. They buried Adanna at the edge of the baobab grove. No songs were sung, no prayers offered. But that night, a sapling sprouted from the soil where her blood had fallen. By morning, it stood tall, its branches heavy with crimson flowers that smelled of burnt sugar and hope. Mama Ngozi placed Kwame's leopard tooth at its roots. "Grow," she whispered. "Tell their story." Years passed. The village forgot Adanna's name, but travelers spoke of a healer who wandered the savannah, a woman with scarred hands and eyes that held storms. She wore no mirrors, but her touch cured fevers. Her voice tamed wildfires. "Is it her?" children would ask. "The cursed beauty?" Elders shrugged. Curses and blessings are two sides of the same coin. She paid in blood. Now she heals in it. One night, under a full moon, the healer knelt by the baobab tree, now ancient and towering. Its flowers glowed red, petals drifting like embers. She pressed her palm to the trunk, a faded crescent moon meeting bark. "You remade me," she whispered. The wind stirred, carrying Kwame's laughter from deep within the roots.